Every game is a delicate balance. Systems layered on top of systems, tested, polished, and shipped with the hopes that players will experience them as intended. But sometimes, players don't follow the script. They press the wrong button, surf along the wrong shoreline, or look just a little too closely at the ground. And when that happens, they don't just break the rules, they find new ones. These discoveries didn't just change the way people played these games. They became a part of gaming culture itself. So here they are, 4 times that players found game-breaking exploits. Number 4. In 2015, players of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt stumbled upon what would become one of gaming's most notorious economic exploits. What started as routine monster hunting quickly transformed into an infinite money-generating scheme that broke the game's carefully balanced economy. The exploit was deceptively simple. In the starting area of White Orchard, players discovered a small herd of cows grazing peacefully near a farm. These harmless bovines could be slaughtered for their hides, which sold for decent coin to the merchants, about 27 coins each. Cows don't always drop hides, but when they do, it's 2 at a time. But here's where things got interesting. After killing the cows and meditating for 1 or 2 hours via the game's rest mechanic, new cows would spawn to replace the slaughtered ones, ready to be killed again. Players quickly realized they had stumbled upon an infinite money loop. Kill cows, collect hides, meditate, repeat. Within a short time, even low-level players could accumulate thousands of crowns before even leaving the tutorial area. CD Projekt Red, the game's developer, had an unexpected sense of humor about the whole situation. In patch 1.05, the devs added an ominous message to the changelog. Deploys the Bovine Defense Force Initiative. Players soon learned exactly what that meant. They had added a fearsome level 27 creature called a Chort, a hulking demonic beast, that would run in after players killed 6 cows in succession. The Chort was absurdly overpowered for the starting area, enough to kill lower level players in a single blow. But developers didn't stop there, as killing the Chort would only result in another one charging in to continue the bovine vendetta, a never-ending loop of Chorts. Ironically, this anti-exploit measure created an entirely new exploit. Higher-level players quickly discovered that they could easily dispatch the Chorts, kill them with ease, and farm their valuable drops indefinitely, turning this supposed punishment into an even more lucrative money-making scheme than the original cow exploit. To prevent this, they eventually had to release a second patch where killing 6 Chorts in a row would result in a queue of even larger demonic bovines spawning in, known as the Bovine Defense Force's Bovine Defense Force Initiative. Okay, not really, but that would be pretty funny. No, but CD Projekt Red did eventually have to patch the Chort as well, limiting encounters so that only 1 Chort would appear, and once killed, it wouldn't respawn until Geralt left White Orchard and returned. The Bovine Defense Force Initiative became such a beloved part of the game's lore that CD Projekt Red referenced it in its Hearts of Stone expansion, adding 2 Gwent cards named Cow and Bovine Defense Force. The exploit is even mentioned by a tax collector in the game who asks Geralt about his involvement in the wholesale trade of rawhide in the White Orchard area. What made this exploit particularly memorable wasn't just its effectiveness, but CD Projekt Red's playful response to it, turning a simple oversight into a piece of gaming folklore that the game and players still reference today. Number 3. Catching Pokemon in Red and Blue with regular Pokeballs required a mix of skill and luck. Various factors like the Pokemon's catch rate and current HP affected whether or not the attempted catch would be successful. There was a Master Pokeball that guaranteed a successful catch, but players typically only received 1 per playthrough. Enter Missing No, a glitch Pokemon that looks like a scrambled mess, but holds the power to duplicate any item in your inventory. This isn't just any glitch. This is the glitch that taught an entire generation that games could be broken. The glitch is triggered by watching the Old Man tutorial in Viridian City, then immediately flying to Cinnabar Island and surfing along the eastern shoreline. As Bulbapedia explains, during the Old Man encounter, the game temporarily replaces your character's name with Old Man, storing your actual name in memory normally used for wild Pokemon data. And since most player names don't correspond to valid Pokemon data, it appears. The biblically accurate Pokemon known as Missing No, in all its glory. Regardless of whether you run from the encounter or carry on to try and catch Missing No, when you next check your inventory, the 6th item will have increased to 128. This occurs because when you encounter any Pokemon, the game updates your Pokédex to reflect that. YouTuber Live Overflow found in his video that with Missing No, this process causes data to overflow past the seen Pokédex array and into the memory address that stores the value for your 6th inventory item, increasing its quantity to 128. Savvy players quickly realized that this could be used to generate infinite rare candies, master balls, and other powerful items. Nintendo did publish warnings to players in Nintendo Power, which claimed Missing No could delete save files or corrupt graphics. Though rare, it does seem that interacting with Missing No, particularly when trying to catch it, can result in these less than favorable outcomes. What's even more remarkable is that the glitch was preserved in the 2016 Virtual Console release of Pokemon Red and Blue on the Nintendo 3DS. Rather than fix the exploit, Nintendo chose to honor this piece of gaming history. Number 2. In September 2014, Destiny launched to massive anticipation with a loot system that emphasized rarity and progression through earned rewards. Legendary engrams were uncommon finds, and gear encryption added something of an element of surprise to the loot experience. Soon after launch, players discovered the now legendary Loot Cave in the Cosmodrome. Located in Skywatch, this unassuming cave continuously spawned waves of low-level enemies. By positioning themselves at just the right distance, players could farm efficiently, collecting uncommon and rare engrams in minutes. The Loot Cave became an overnight phenomenon. Players lined up in perfect formation, firing into the darkness for hours. It became a community hub, a meme, and a symbol of the grind-heavy early days of Destiny. Bungie quickly patched the exploit, increasing the spawn timers and closing the cave entirely. But they left a cheeky tribute to it in-game. A burned corpse was added to the cave's entrance, with a message referencing Master Rahul, Destiny's infamous Cryptarch. Years later, the Destiny 2 30th Anniversary Pack added a full dungeon, Grasp of Avarice, themed around the Loot Cave, complete with exploding decoy engrams. It stands as another rare example of an exploit being embraced by developers and transformed into lore. Number 1. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is packed with secrets, but some of its most valuable treasures are ones you literally can't see and were never meant to freely access. Each merchant in Skyrim has a hidden chest used to store their inventory. These containers are normally placed outside of the playable world, far beneath the terrain. A hidden mechanic Bethesda probably used to keep shop inventories modular and persistent. However, due to how Skyrim's world is constructed, several of these chests unintentionally ended up accessible to players. The most famous example is in Dawnstar next to the Ironbreaker mine. By searching between a trio of rocks near the smelter, players can access a hidden container belonging to a Khajiit, caravan merchant. This chest holds enchanted weapons, potions, gold, soul gems, and more, all available for you to take with your sticky hands without being flagged as stolen. Better still, the chest refreshes its contents every 48 in-game hours. Similar chests were discovered in Markarth, Whiterun, and Solitude, though modders eventually addressed the issue with the unofficial Skyrim patch. Bethesda never removed or officially commented on these containers in the base game. Over a decade later, they remain usable in unmodded versions of Skyrim, offering players an unintended but effective shortcut to wealth that even new players can have the pleasure of experiencing. That wraps up this video. These exploits remind us that sometimes the best part of gaming is that moment when you figure out how to break it. If you want to hear more about up-and-coming indie games and the creative process that those devs have, be sure to check out my other channel, Pixel Breakdown Pod. I have been posting new interviews with indie devs weekly.